Hi guys, Mike here, and I'm going to be starting a new project, which is I'm going to build my own guitar, a bass guitar, from scratch. And I was thinking about some different ways of doing it. The only thing part of the guitar that I'm really going to be building from scratch is going to be the body. Everything else is, I'm going to the accessories and the neck. I'm going to have to order those. So, but the body, of course, will be my creation. And here are the pieces of wood. I had them cut at the shop. But anyway, I'm going to just take these and put some glue in between here and just clamp them together, I think. And I'll show you my progress as I go along. Okay, I got the design for the body of my guitar decided, and now it's just a matter of I'm going to cut it out and then trace the design of it onto my wood, and then I'll be able to cut it out with a jigsaw. Okay, I got my pattern traced onto my board for the body, and now I can go on to the next step, which is to cut out my guitar body design and take it from there. Okay, I got my piece of wood finally sawed out, although it's a little bit uneven on certain areas, but I think it might get the job done, I hope. I'm going to have to be doing a lot of sanding and probably filling in of some certain areas with a little bit of wood putty, but other than that, I think it's probably going to work. So we'll go on to the next step, which is going to be sanding. Okay, I got done cutting out my guitar body from the wood. However, the jigsaw did not cut straight vertical up and down. It cut kind of like at an angle, and consequently it made the edges look kind of warped, so I had to like kind of go over it some spots to even it out. I'm probably gonna, I don't know, I might have to do some additional sawing in a few spots, either that or maybe just sand out the spots that didn't come out even. But another thing too is the wood glue I used, I don't know, I guess I maybe just didn't use enough or something, or I didn't have it, I just put a bunch of heavy stuff on the wood when I glued it together, and I probably should have used clamps, but I didn't have enough clamps to go over that entire piece of wood. So I had to reapply some wood glue around the edges I'm going to leave it set overnight, and I will continue with this tomorrow and start, like I said, so I'm going to start on the sanding and get her all sanded down and take it from there. So we'll see you in the next step. Okay guys, I'm back, and I have done some sanding with my guitar body, bass guitar body, and I still got some more sanding to do because I was using like 80 grit sandpaper. I still got a lot of sanding to do, but what I wanted to point out is that I bought a router because I'm going to have a router, of course, to get the cavities routed out for the pickup, and the control cavity. I'm going to have that routed out in the back, of course, and some other things that I'll have to do with the router. But one thing I wanted to point out is I used a round over bit and rounded off the edges for the body, and that's something I've never done before. It was really interesting. I used my little small router that I purchased online, and of course bought a round over bit for it. And it seems to work pretty good. I had to practice on the wood that I bought for the guitar body. I did a little practice run with it since I've never used it before, and so this is how it came out as far as using the round over bit. So, like I said, I've still got some sanding to do. I wanted to use some fine grit sandpaper to go over this and get the body nice and smooth. So I just wanted to let you know what my progress is so far, and I'm going to continue working with it, and I'll keep you guys up to date here in this video of what my progress is, and I'll see you on the next step. Okay, I've got my body pretty much all sanded, and I also routed out my control cavity, although this first time I've done that, so it didn't quite come out as good as I would have hoped, but I believe it'll do the job, and maybe I think in the future I'll get use some better router tips. The one I had was just a really thin one. So, once it's covered up and everything, and it'll hide all my mistakes there. So at least I got that part of it done, and I'm going to pause here and go on to the next step. See you then. Okay, I've got my neck pocket routed out, and I've got my neck attached to my guitar, and so from here on I'm going to proceed on to the next step, which is going to be I'm going to route out the cavity for the pickup, and I'm going to get started on that now. Okay guys, I got the pickup cavity routed out, but I had a couple of disasters happen here almost. My device on my router, what holds the up the depth that you want it to get held up to so you can route it out at the correct depth, slipped on me, and it ended up making the spot here a bit deeper than I was wanting it to go, and unfortunately by the time I caught it, I'd already routed out a spot here, which left me like very little room to be able to drill in some spots for a screw. So, but I did manage to, you know, do a little bit of repair with it. And what I ended up having to do was I took some of those wooden lollipop sticks and I cut them up and I glued them in there. And I don't know if you can see that there. I glued them in so that I would have some place where my screw could hook onto. I used epoxy glue, and of course I'm going to have to let that dry, and so hopefully that'll allow me to you know, have something for my screws to grab onto for me to hook up my pickup. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to have to drill a hole to go so the wire can go from the pickup cavity into the control cavity. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and get my hole routed or drilled in for my pickup wire, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, I have applied the, I put some wood stain conditioner on the body of my guitar, and I'm kind of got mixed results here as far as how I feel about how it looks. It kind of looks different on the video than it does right in front of me. Since it did come out, you know, a little bit darker, and this stain that I used is a dark red mahogany color, and so I'm not sure. I think because it came out so dark, and there were some spots that I used the wood putty, which, even though I used the wood stain conditioner, there's some spots that still came out blotchy because I used the wood putty. But I think maybe after this dries tomorrow, I might decide to sand it to kind of brighten it up a bit. And like I said, it's just freshly put on. This is only, well, actually no, I've got I put 2 coats of the stain on, and so like I said, I'm gonna wait and see tomorrow what it looks like. I'm gonna, like I said, try to sand it. I think maybe that might make a big difference, because you know, you can barely see the wood grain after I put the stain on, and I kind of do want the wood grain to kind of pop out more than it's doing right now. So Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll get back with you on the next step and take it from there.